Hi everyone, my name's Ungazi and everyone calls me Zibby and you're welcome to the Zibby Show. The Zibby Show is a show that focuses on issues that affect us daily as human beings, and these issues range from basically everything to everything you can think of. It's also an opportunity for us to celebrate those amazing individuals who have done outstanding things in assisting mankind in one way or the other, as well as being excellent in their chosen fields. We're so happy you're starting this journey with us. We've got a fabulous guest in the studio.
Come on to Zibby's Lounge. 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 Come on to Zibby's Lounge.
Hi, my name's Ungazi and you're welcome to the Zibby Show. We've got an amazing guest in the studio. He's an inspirational musician who's world renowned and a philanthropist as well. I'm not going to say his name, but let's give you a little clue. Okay, so we all figured it's world-renowned musician, composer, the distinguished T-Mac Iseli. Hi, T-Mac.
Hi, how are you doing, Ngozi?
I'm perfect, and how are you today?
I'm okay, looking forward to have a good interview with you.
All right, that's great. We're absolutely honored to have you here, and I'm sure a lot of people cannot wait. So we'll just get started right away. I'd like to just find out a bit more about your background. I understand everyone calls you T-Mac, but is that an abbreviation? Tell us about your name and yourself.
Well, I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, with the name T-Mac Omachola Iseli, from the Fregene Omateye family. But I'm half Shekiri, half Swiss. My father, who was then Swiss ambassador to Nigeria when he married my mother, a Shekiri princess, registered me in Switzerland. But in Switzerland in those days you had to register names from a list. So in my original Swiss passport my name was Theo Mark Iseli. My father was Theo Manfred Iseli. We have the same initials, TM.
Okay.
But my Nigerian passport has T-Mac Omashola Iseli, and my new Swiss passport has the same name.
All right, that's interesting. So basically, it means at that time you couldn't give your child a unique name. The name had to be a set name approved, basically.
Exactly. There was an official list, and I think that was in 78. The Swiss people voted in that any names can be used, because I remember my junior sister had a girl in the class who had a very funny name, and that was just new. Not kleptomania, but something funny. You know.
Just wondering, what attracted you to the flute? I mean, the different instruments like a guitar, a tambourine, the piano. What was it about the flute?
It's amazing. I think since a small boy, I was attracted to the flute, and I have a feeling that I played the flute in a previous life, because when I got my first flute, it was just like refinding something I already knew.
Okay.
And getting older, I realized that it's not the first time I'm playing the flute. But my love for the flute developed when my uncle in Switzerland, after my father was assassinated in Nigeria, I grew up in Switzerland.
Okay.
He took me to a concert. And one gentleman called Jean-Pierre Rampal, he performed as a solo flautist. I think it was Mozart Flute Concerto 1 and 2.
Okay.
And said, I must play that flute. I was quite young, so I had to wait till I was think I was 7.5, because it was Christmas I got my first flute. I wasn't 8 yet.
Okay.
And I was so excited. That flute in that wooden box smelled so fresh and nice. That night I put the flute under my pillow and slept. And dreamt standing on stage and playing the flute and everybody applauding me. And from then on I knew the flute is it. Of course, when I studied music, I had to major on a second instrument. So I studied classical guitar.
Okay.
I studied classical guitar, not to play it on stage, but I used to coach every one of my guitarists because I have the theory in my head. And I played the guitar. I sometimes use it for composition reasons. But I also played for many years tenor saxophone, alto saxophone, and I did what is called the Vaccai, which is the Italian way of singing opera. I studied the Vaccai, and a few years later I continued studying the theoretical aspect to the level of philharmonic composition. That means I write for philharmonic orchestras, film music, etc.
All right. I understand there was a time you lived in Hollywood and you worked for Universal as a composer.
Yeah, that's correct. When I left in 1983 Nigeria, after having had a very successful 7 years with the Sulere nightclub, with T-Mac Collection, the coup happened and my producer, manager, Jim Bishop said, T-Mac, get out of Nigeria. So I left. I worked first 2 years for CD Croft Enterprise. They are the corporation who produces the Mandrill Show, the Moped Show, and so on. But that was boring. Writing the strings for those mopeds, I can't even watch the show anymore. I so hate it. Then I got a 4 years contract and I worked for Universal Films, and I enjoyed that very much.
That's interesting. Okay, let's talk about your lifestyle now. I'm in my 20s, and you're obviously, a lot older than I am. But then you don't look that much older, How do you maintain your looks? Like, what's the secret?
I guess the secret is moderation.
Okay.
And exercise, and I don't eat red meat. I think the last time I ate red meat was when I was 24, which is a long, long time ago.
Wow.
My teacher, Jean-Pierre Rompal, he said, if any of you wants to play the flute till 90, better become vegetarians. If you eat meat, you spend so much time and energy digesting that you need a lot of time and energy. Okay. So if you eat vegetables, half an hour later you have the energy and you can do, because we are not carnivorous animals.
Definitely.
So I stopped completely. I eat occasionally fish and turkey, but no red meat at all. Then secondly, no smoking, very little alcohol, try and get rest and work out.
Okay.
The only problem maybe I have in my life, there's quite a lot of stress being in business in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I often get angry sitting 5-6 hours in the traffic jam, so I take my iPad, my phones, and I keep myself busy not to get angry.
Yeah.
I would say Nigeria generally is stressful.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe living in Nigeria will take off a few years of my life, but what can I do? It's my home, and I love my home.
T-Mac, you've got an amazing sense of humor. I totally agree with Nigeria being a really stressful place. I understand you're a spiritual person. Does spirituality also play a part in your role in, healthy eating and being vegetarian?
Well, I would say my life interest has always been religious philosophy. I studied for about 2 years Islam, read the Hadith. I had a Sufi teacher, not to become a Muslim, but to know what is Islam all about. It was very interesting. And then I became, for about 10 years or 11 years, a member of the Hare Krishna Society. And then I realized that my teacher was right. Vegetarians live better, live longer, have less degenerative diseases eating.
All right.
Then I moved on and studied Buddhism. I was in California chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo with people like Quincy Jones. Very interesting.
Okay.
Then I came across Ekankar, And I guess that's where I got stopped. Ekankar is not actually a religion. Ekankar is a way of life.
Yes.
Respecting every religion and being able to pray in a church, pray in a mosque, believing that there's one God. But I am still a Christian. I am a very close friend to Prophet T.B. Joshua, who I admire and love very much.
Okay.
I go, if I have time, to his synagogue for prayers, and I sometimes perform flute for him and Emmanuel TV. So I think I've answered your question. Yes, I am a spiritual person. Without that, I wouldn't be a composer as I am.
All right, that's fine. And I've read a book from the Hare Krishna teachings, and it talks about, karma, basically, and they talk about if one person kills an animal in one life, they come back in the next re-embodiment as that animal, so they can feel what that animal went through. And I understand that you love dogs. I've seen pictures of you with Babangida, OBJ, and Nefertiti, all of them. Is that directly related to your love of animals?
Well, yes, but you can also go back to Christianity, where it says, love thy neighbors, love yourself. So I look upon my dogs as my neighbors, and I give them all the care and all the love. I grew up in Switzerland, where I had an absolute fantastic education. And one day I asked my uncle, because he took care of me and my two sisters, how do I ever repay you? My uncle said, if you ever see a young person who needs help for his education, do not hesitate, help him, and that's the way you pay me back. So I think I've brought about nearly 20 people through university in my life.
Wow.
And I have still in university who are not even my own children. So I think my love for animals also go back to when I was 14, where my uncle said, you can choose a dog. So I drove with him to Liechtenstein, which was just beside of Switzerland, and I chose a wonderful bull terrier called Bully. And that dog and myself, we were just the closest friends. From then on, I started to respect all the animals, because I realized they have incredible intelligence. In the end, we are there to end up as valuable co-workers for God. So we are the masters of our destiny. We choose what we want to achieve what we want.
Yes, I totally agree with that. That's very inspirational. What does music mean to you?
Well, I am a professional musician. I played the flute since 8. Music means actually everything to me. But there were a couple of years in my life where I started to do other things, like mining, gas and oil, but never stopped playing my flute.
Okay.
But I had periods where I had to somehow recover mentally, do something else, so I could charge my batteries again, but I would still sit on my computer with Sibelius software and compose my ballets, my symphonies, my flute concertos. I have in my bedroom here more than 15 hours of completed philharmonic works unpublished.
Okay.
So music is my life.
Okay. When you compose your music, what inspires you? Where do you find that inspiration?
I can look at a beautiful flower and suddenly hear the music. I can look at a painting by a master. I can go to a museum and stare at a beautiful painting by anybody, from Rembrandt to Rubens to Picasso, and feel the energy the painters put into that painting. And that painting is fabulous because he achieved a level of intellect, and that comes out. It's like I can go and listen to a concert by Tchaikovsky, Mozart, Bach, and I'm spellbound because I am a composer. I feel what they compose. I float in their composition. So all this gives me inspiration. But I guess nature is the most important factor to me. I will go to a beach with a notebook, breathe the fresh air, see the beach, the water, or go to a forest, and it inspires me immediately. So a lot of my music, I wrote a water symphony from a little driplet of water to a river, to the sea, to the lakes. Everyone has a chapter.
Yeah.
I am very influenced by nature.
Okay. So that's basically seeing the beauty in nature.
That's correct.
Okay. I know you've worked with big names worldwide, Eric Clapton, the OJs, the Jacksons, really big names in music. And do you think, your career is big as it is, but do you think it might have been a lot bigger if you had not moved back to Nigeria?
Well, it's all relative thinking. In the 70s, when my band Silver Convention had 3 hits, we traveled, I would say, 2 years around the world, making the big money, having all the stress of superstars, and somehow I said to myself, this can be very destructive. For 2 years I hardly composed, there was not time, and it was interesting, yes, and especially the financial reward. But on the other side, I don't think that is reality. I don't think that is the real life. What I actually like is to have my peace.
Yes.
I like to walk freely around. I enjoy that people come and greet me, they shake hands. Now where every phone has a camera, the whole day, everywhere I go, people say, can we take a photo with you? Can you take? Sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing to me. Sometimes I'm in a hurry.
Yeah.
But you cannot be rude. Yeah, every move we do is reported in the press. Even my Facebook messages, they are being pulled by bloggers, they are being repeated. So I cannot even be myself. I can't even be critical anymore. I have to always think, who am I going to offend? Who is going to talk bad about me? And that's the same. When you're out there a star, you're being taken photos every minute. You have no private life anymore. You have no peace anymore. That's not what I want, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I love Nigeria. I had a good life here. I am into business and music. I enjoy going abroad from time to time to have concerts. I never play nightclub because I hate to play where people smoke. But I like big concerts and festivals. I have these 15 hours of philharmonic music on hard disks, and this will, I guess, survive me and survive all my hits, my commercial music, because commercial music tends to die off.
Exactly.
But we are still listening to the masters of 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th century, because this is real music, not composed to make quick money, no KISS system, keep it simple, stupid, just to make money, to please some teenagers to shout at you. To me, that is all fake.
Yeah.
So you're saying I could have made it big internationally. I think in the 70s we could not go bigger. Silver Convention was the biggest disco band in history. Yes. And some of the songs like Fly Robin Fly, Get Up and Boogie, Save Me, etc. are evergreens. I'm still making a lot of money through intellectual property and royalties, so I cannot complain.
Okay, that's interesting. So how would you compare the musical scene in the 60s and 70s in Nigeria to what we have today?
Well, I would say I was part of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I like the 70s and 80s more than now, because bands had to rehearse, bands were touring, you had to satisfy your fans with 2-3 hour shows. There was only one TV station, NTA, so either playing the Barbie show or the T-Mac show, the whole nation saw me. Nowadays, I would say the music scene is vibrant, the youngsters are trying, but the quality of songs is not up to the level it should be, because everybody can use a laptop and just create some beats and put it out and dream that he's a superstar. It is not like that. You must be able to stand on stage for 2 hours and keep your crowd at bay. You must be able to deliver 40 songs during a show. You don't just go and mime to one song and then you walk off stage. To me, that is cheating to the crowd.
Yeah.
But the teenagers, the young people of today, they don't go back in history to find out what is good music, because the radio station DJs, they are also music illiterate, so they play whatever is given to them, and the young people listening to it, they think that's how music should be. My advice is we need more music appreciation seminars, classes, Every school should have music appreciation. Every child should play a recorder, guitar or piano to actually understand how music is created, to also open up his awareness toward music. If you have never played an instrument, how can you appreciate a T-Mac on his flute? You don't even know how difficult the flute is. Let me play you something Mozart composed when he was 7 years old, and it was the first piece I memorized when I was 9 years old. Listen to this, please.
Okay.
Can you hear how brilliant that little melody night music is? Now,
wow.
If the radio stations would occasionally play some of the what we call commercial classical music, also Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and so on, da-da-da-dum, you know, then it would help the young people to realize there is more than just music to shake your backside.
You know, the tune you played, I've known that because my dad used to listen to classic music, so I grew up listening to classic music. So I knew that tune, but I had no idea he composed it when he was 7. Like, that's amazing. And the piece you played was absolutely beautiful. I mean, I've tried to play a recorder once, and I was out of breath in a few seconds, and I'm like, okay, I don't know how people do this. So, it's beautiful. And can you tell us about the P-Man Peace Initiative?
Okay, P-Man. Well, you know, P-Man, I'm one of the founders with Sonia Ade, Emizobe, Sonia Kosun, Christian Essien, and Emma Gossi as Secretary General. And I have watched P-Man growing, falling, growing, struggling. Okay. And after Charlie Boy wanted to give up, I supported him. I organized a couple of events for him. Bolaji Rossi G had his election, despite one Delhi Abiodun having some illegal election somewhere. Bolaji Rossi G, I think, couldn't take the stress, so he resigned. And for 6 months, P-Man was just drifting along. So the elders came to me and said that I should step in. It is my time, and I was kind of worried because to be the president of P-Man, it's a full-time job, full dedication. You must have your own money because P-Man at that time was broke. I said, okay, if I get 100% of the votes in a delegate reconfirmation meeting, which was the election happened in Wari. I don't remember it, 2007, I was confirmed as P-Man president. I moved into the presidential office in Ikeja, and then I had a quit notice by the landlord. I didn't realize that for 7 years nobody had paid rent.
Wow.
So first I had to pay 7 years rent, 6 months salaries, paint the place, put TVs downstairs. I would say it was about 12-13 million naira, which was my initial
personal funds.
Yes.
Wow.
So we reorganized P-Man. We made sure we had negotiations with the immigration, with the tax people, make sure foreign artists have to oblige like we have to do, come in with temporary work permission, not visiting visa, pay tax at source. Okay. It was quite something else. I attended a couple of international meetings by FIM, Fédération Internationale des Musiciens, that's the umbrella organization of all the musician union, 166 musician union, adopted some of their resolutions. My only problem was that P-Man was registered as the Performing Musician Employers Association, so I've been working to get that employers out. Yeah. I found out the 35 hectares of land P-Man had was revoked in Abuja, a lot of problems. But then we had some breakthroughs. There was $120 million available for an arts village in Africa through the Commonwealth. Oh, yeah. I lobbied it should be built in Badagry. and Governor Fashola actually approved 76 million naira to host all the African Musician Union. And we are restructuring PMAN. PMAN is now run with different committees. I am the chairman of the committee for government relations and international relationship, because I still have my signature with all the embassy. That means I sign the letters for musicians who want to have visas, etc. So PMAN is on the right way forward.
Tell us about the Motherland Project.
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. A gentleman who was like Gaban Tropicana organized about 4 or 5 years ago American investors to come to Nigeria, and there were about 12 American mayors, and I was asked to organize a gala night where I brought in Shaggy, P-Square, Two-Face. It was a nice night, and to my biggest surprise I saw my old friend Marlon Jackson of the Jackson 5.
Yes.
And spent the whole evening with him. Then next day Marlon said, Timac, I'm tired of all this business talk, let's go somewhere. So I took him to Badagry, introduced him to Oba Akran, an old friend of mine, took him to the Slave Museum, and he saw those heavy chains in a glass box. He said, oh, he would love to wear them. Wow. I wasn't sure, because these are hundreds of years old relics, but the museum attendant was so impressed to see Michael Jackson's brother. He took them out, put them on Marlon's feet and legs. Marlon walked a few meters and tears burst out of his eyes. He said, Timac, every African American has to come to Badagry. Come and see these chains. Walk the slave route where on the left side the mass graves are. It's an eerie area, nothing grows there. Go to the point of no return, see the ocean where they all left for America, Brazil, and the Caribbean. And that's how we started the Motherland Project, a Hollywood stuff. Sorry.
Right.
Then we met with Governor Fashola. He said we should speak to his PPP office, that's private partnership, etc. With Lagos State government. There were 3 contenders for that land, about 450 hectares with 21 square kilometers of prime, untouched, wonderful beach.
That's massive.
So I went to America, I spoke to some investors, and we cut a bank guarantee for $1.6 billion with Standard Chartered. I deliberately made the bank guarantee conditional upon an MOU to be signed with Lagos State for the land.
All right.
And when I presented that during the next meeting, I was told, please go ahead, Timac. Lagos State was absolutely fantastic. We did the MOU documentation within about 4 weeks. There was a 58-page document. Lagos State studied it for 1 month. They made only one change. We wanted exclusivity for hotels for Badagry, but they only gave the exclusivity for the area where we took over the lease.
All right.
And we signed it. So we had a little snack. We formed a new company called Ekabo Resorts Limited. Ekabo meaning in Yoruba welcome.
Okay.
So we worked on the project. We're working on it. Marlon comes every few months to Nigeria.
And I understand you have a lot of foreign partners in business within Nigeria, but do you actually think Nigeria is secure enough for business? Is it like a prime business destination? I mean, we've got insecurity and then we've got terrible power, like power supply. So I'm just wondering, is it actually a good investment?
Accordingly to the World Bank, Nigeria, with 31% return on the investment per annum, is maybe the number 1 country to invest at the moment.
Really?
Nigeria is the last frontier because gas and oil, mining, agriculture, houses, whatever you want to do, we need it with our 160 million people. But it could be much more interesting if we had our power in order and the security controlled.
Okay.
But my foreign partners have no problem. I have foreign partners in my mining business. I'm the chairman of Allied Minerals, mining zinc, lead, copper, tin, and I've got 2 gold mines to develop at the moment. I'm in gas and oil. I have TMAC Petroleum. I used to export products. Now we have I brought in Daewoo from Korea and Hemla from Norway, from DNH. I'm a director in it.
Okay.
I brought from Canada James Bay Resources. I'm an executive director. I brought in gas and oil from Norway. So we are very busy at the moment. I haven't made the big money yet. It's all building up.
Yeah.
A lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, but it will be, I would say in a year or 2, it will be okay.
All right, that's encouraging. In 2009, President Yaradua gave you an MFR for your role in brokering peace in the Niger Delta regions and the amnesty program for the militants. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we were a team of people in the peace process, but I got a phone call by one gentleman called Ateke Tom. He said, T-Mac, I would like to see you. So I asked him, but you guarantee my security because I don't want to come to the creeps and be hijacked. He said, no, you're safe. So I went to Dwarf Island with the chairman of Piedmont chapter River State. Were picked up by the militants with face masks and guns and so on, taken through the riverine area to Ateke Tom's main camp. I was very impressed. They were well organized, well armed, very disciplined.
Wow.
And then I said to Ateke Tom, but you alone cannot be peace in the Niger Delta. So he put some of the other militants on the satellite phone, and I then took the speedboat in the following few weeks, visited everybody in their camp. It was tiring. To Boilov's place in Bayelsa State from Warri was a 7 hours ride each way. When I came back, I couldn't stand properly for 2 days because of the waves hitting the boat. But in the end, I suggested the 3 main items, which were rehabilitation of the militants, unconditional pardon to the militants, and development of the Niger Delta, and everybody agreed to that. But I am happy that there's peace in the Niger Delta.
Yes.
I am from the Niger Delta. I'm Shakiri from Warri, and I am still continuing being part of certain programs, projects, education of the militants. Be honest with you, I have never made a penny out of it, but I'm happy that there's peace.
Yes, because I think at the end of the day, that's just what we want. Everyone, we want safety. We want them getting what they feel they're denied of, basically, and that's development. And speaking about that, I read quite recently that you're in partnership with a company called Hemla and Daewoo as well to help to develop the Ogoni land in River State.
Well, yes, I met with the Ogoni people and I saw the devastation, and they asked me, they said, could you bring in a clean and green company? We don't want nothing to do with Shell. I told them I'm on the same level. I was the one spearheading a movement after my friend Ken Zoroviva was executed. I said nobody should tank in any Shell petrol station. And a year later, Shell had to sell off their 3,000 petrol stations. Shell is a multinational who has caused a lot of havoc, a lot of devastation in Nigeria. Like most multinationals, they're not there to develop, they're there to rip off.
Exactly.
And I'm representing more than 160 communities. I took Shell to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly, the national, not the House of State, the House of Assembly in Abuja said Shell should pay 5 billion fine and 5 billion compensation, and Shell hasn't bothered yet. So we are also taking that matter up. I am not a militant, but I can be militant if I want to.
Yes, as long as, we can, achieve what we want without being violent. I think peaceful negotiation is what we actually need. The governments are the people that should actually ensure that the companies do what is right, and they don't do that. So I think sometimes it's hard when you're a lone voice and then there are sharks all around you, basically. I think it's a bit hard sometimes. And I'm not defending Shell.
No. I agree with you, but look at history with Shell. Before the militant situation, Shell may have been more accommodating,
Yes.
and now Shell is going more offshore. They diverse their on-land properties, which is good because in the Niger Delta people just don't like Shell. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they see how they live like kings, like lords, and then you see communities where they don't have drinking water because the ground level is so polluted that they use one bottle of pure water to bath. There is no development. If you look at other countries where there are other code of conducts, I agree with you, the government is also at fault. Because we have Nimamza, we have DPR, they should have played a much more controlling role and punish them whenever they could. Shell is a multinational. Their allegiance is to their shareholders and as much as possible profit and not to develop. Now, I told the Ogonis, we formed the company Hemla Ogoni Resources. They are shareholders in Hemla Ogoni Resources, and we will show the world how, when we re-enter Ogoni land, develop the gas resources and the oil, how it should be done. We build a modern new city, we build infrastructures so that Ogoni land becomes a prime sample how it should be and how it should have been done.
Yes, I think that's definitely encouraging news. Because to a certain extent, I feel like the people from Ogoni and the Niger Delta in general have sort of been neglected for a very long time.
Let me say something more. It is not good to just criticize, and that's why I want to prove how it can be done.
Okay. Yes, that's true. That's true. We actually criticize a lot and then we don't offer a solution.
Exactly.
Yes, I think offering a solution is definitely a right step. Okay, let's talk about, basically things you've been through. I read about an MW attack a couple of years ago in which you lost a customized flute you owned.
Yeah, that's correct, but my life has been very exciting in many ways. I must also say I drove once near Queen's College. I drove myself, which I do seldom, and I saw some people in suits and lace with AK-47s in the hand, and I saw people on the street running out of the cars and the robbers taking the cars away. So I was wondering what's happening. So one gentleman with a gun looked at me and said, "Hey, T-Mac, we're doing an operation here. Turn around and go away." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And I turned and drove away while they were just robbing 2 cars in front of me. So I had a very nice situation there. But another time, I performed some classical music for my best friend's father's 80th birthday in VI. I drove back to the mainland, dropped my police orderly off in Okiafia, and on the bridge of Isolo there was a checkpoint. There were policemen in uniform. I thought they were policemen. They asked my driver, they want to check the booth. He went out to open the booth and one jumped into the car front and pointed the gun at me and said, "T-Mac, this is a robbery." I said, "Oh, that's nice. You know me and you want to rob me?" He said, "Well, Christmas is coming. We are broke, we are poor." So he took everything I had of me, my gold watch, my briefcase with my Nigerian and Swiss passport in it, about 400,000 naira cash I had in briefcase, a box of my CDs, my 6 phones, and then I pushed my flute under the front seat, but one on the right side with the gun pointed at me and said, "Give me this." I said, "Look, that's just my flute, there's no value." If you want to listen, they took it. They were not aware that that was a platinum handmade Muramatsu flute, which I bought in 92.
Wow.
It is priceless because Mr. Muramatsu is not even alive anymore to build me another one.
Aww.
So I lost my best flute and I've never seen it again.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah.
I really hope someone with any information about it could step up and, there's some things money can't buy, priceless things like this. So I really hope someone somewhere has some information about it and would be willing to return it back to you. I really
Well,
hope so.
this is now 3-4 years. I have written it off, so I don't think that it will ever come back.
Oh, oh well. Okay, I guess those are some of the issues that we deal with in Nigeria, the insecurity and lack of power and things like that. Now let's, in summary, you've got a mining company, you've got an oil and gas company, you're the rep for Deu, Hemla, you do so much. How do you find the time to combine everything and then still be a father? How? How do you do it?
Well, you can ask the same question to Maika Denuga or Mr. Dangote. They are good friends of mine. The busier you become, the better you have to organize your time. You have to hire PAs and people to assist you because you can't do everything on your own.
Okay.
In Piman, I had an excellent Secretary General, DK. In the mining company, it's a little bit dormant at the moment because of the Boko Haram problem in Plateau State, Nasarawa State, and Zamfara State.
Okay.
In the oil business, I have to rely more on my technical partners who have a huge team of experts. They have about 2,000 oil engineers.
Okay.
So I do more the public relation kind of business. I do the lobbying, I do the visiting. I have good lawyers working with me together. But I must be honest with you, I wish I had a little bit more time for myself.
Okay.
Because every night, coming back home at 11 at night, and it's not easy. It is not easy. And when I was 20, 30, I could go 2-3 nights without sleeping. But now I need my 6-7 hours sleep to function.
Okay.
But the key is you have to organize yourself.
I was on YouTube a few days ago, and I saw one of your videos called Nefertiti.
Okay?
I absolutely loved it. As a black person and a black woman, I felt empowered. What was the inspiration?
Well, I have been a student of the history of the Ethiopian Empire and Egypt, because when I studied music, I found out that even classical music was invented during the time of Menes the First.
Okay.
And when Alexander the Great of Macedonian invaded Egypt, he had his philosopher friend Aristotle with him, and they looted the library of Luxor. They took away philosophy, astrology, music, medicine, and it all ended up in Greece. That's why music now has Greek name like octava, tetrachords, etc.
Okay.
So I said to myself, let me play something let me compose something to honor Queen Nefertiti, who was a female pharaoh.
Yes.
And then also honor our beauty queens who are living at the moment, like the Nigeria Miss World.
Yes. Abani.
Obami Darego.
Yes.
And then ladies who I worked with, like Shirley Bassey, Toni Braxton, I love very much. So I just made a song saying in those days they had the beauty queens, which were queens and empresses, and so nowadays it's the beauty queens and the top singers who are our new black queens.
All right.
Well,
That's
I'm glad you like it. So anybody listening in, go to YouTube, put my name, Teemac, Teemac, Nefertiti, and you can watch it. Or go to La Cave Music, music spelled M-U-S-I-K. La Cave means cave music, that's a French label, and you can see many of my videos like Struggle, Got to the Party at 8:05,
okay.
A Certain Way to Go. Some of my old stuff you can all see on YouTube.
Yes, I think what we can do, we can add links to the videos on YouTube so it's easier for people to find them. And speaking of Got to the Party at about 8:05, that is a catchy song. Okay, I don't know, I can't remember the exact words, but I've been humming it for days. It's in my head. It's so catchy, and I absolutely loved it.
It says, I'm strolling down the street, behaving very weird, don't even know it's morning. Whenever the signs appears, my body wants to groove, don't even know it's morning. Got to the party at 8:05. Sat in a chair to rest a while. Then people came, they said hello, but I felt alone at this party. Then I saw you near the bar, and I started singing. As I started drinking, then I saw you near the bar, and I started thinking, party, party. I'm not actually a rapper, but I have some songs where I have some catchy lyrics. Instead of singing it, we are rapping it. And my youngest son does that in my band. Now he does all the rapping parts.
Okay. Was he the person that rapped in Nefertiti? Was that him?
No, that was Silver Sadiq.
Oh, right. Okay, that's really interesting. And, I actually saw you dance, and I thought it was really cool because you were, getting down in the video. I really liked that.
Thank
But
you.
it's so catchy, and it's been in my head for days. It's been in my head. I really need to go back. I actually downloaded the videos on my computer, so that's amazing. Okay, we've had an amazing time with you, and just to wrap this up, we've got one more question. Most people have like a quote or a principle that, sort of is a motivation or a guiding factor. Have you got any quote that inspires you, or, you just use it in situations to, explain situations, or just something that inspires you and you think could inspire other people out there?
Yeah, that's correct. Because I love animals, I personally invented an animal quote.
Okay.
If you want to kiss a giraffe, you
Yeah.
have to grow tall, which means if you want to achieve the nearly impossible, you have to put in a lot of energy. You have to grow yourself. You have to work hard. You have to take the sky as the limit. So to kiss a giraffe, you have to grow very tall, and that's the motto of my life. To kiss a giraffe, you have to grow tall.
That's really interesting. Okay. Thank you so much, T-Mac. It's been absolutely wonderful having you here. And I'm really certain a lot of people are going to look at you differently because you've given us, a lot of perspective on different areas of life. And it's been so much fun having you. And thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome, Ngozi. I would like to sign off with a little jazz improvisation. I am playing the flute and singing at the same time, and that's
Really?
sounds like this.
And so that's it for this week's episode, the very first episode of the Zibby Show. I hope you had an amazing time, because I certainly had an amazing time. It was wonderful chatting with T-Mac. He's such an amazing person. And it was really lovely to hear his dogs in the background as well. They just sort of needed in on the party. So please keep a date with us Sunday, 8 p.m. It's the Zibby Show. And we've got another fabulous guest. Oh, and it's my friend Wyrie's birthday today. I've known her forever. Happy birthday, Wyrie, and God bless you. And also a huge congratulations to my friend Adaku, who got engaged to her boo a few days ago, Otse, and we wish you guys a happy married life. So take care of yourselves and each other, and don't forget to spread the love. Bye.